What is up, my GGs? Welcome back. So today we're going to be talking about something a little bit different. If you're new here, normally I teach guitar on this channel, but recently I've gotten a lot of questions in regards to songwriting. I've been kind of throwing a little bits and pieces of my own original stuff out there, and naturally a lot of you guys had questions. So I see a couple here that are asking, how do you write songs, or basic songwriting tips. So some basic songwriting tips, if I can give out tips to somebody that has little to no experience with songwriting and just wants to just kind of get their feet wet a little bit and get going, I have 5 tips that I've come up with. So like I said, they're very basic. This is not like how to structure a song or anything like that. These are tips just to get you started with writing, because just getting started with that for some people is kind of difficult, and you just have to work your way into it. So what I found was really helpful for me is to write every single day. Just make a habit out of it, because if you think of kind of anything that you've just started doing for the first time, you might find that it's a little bit challenging at first. So what I have here is a notebook. This is where I now write all of my song ideas down. But if you have like a little dedicated notebook, or if you're more of a typer and you want to use your phone or a laptop or something like that, just somewhere where you can journal your thoughts. Personally, I love physically writing my stuff down here. So what I recommend doing is, even if it's just a couple of words a day or a couple of lines, just something, write it down. Just make a habit out of it. Give yourself, set aside some quiet time where you can just sit for like 5 or 10 minutes and just think. Don't be like, take away all the distractions. Really, this is why I don't recommend so much using a phone, is because you have all your notifications and apps distracting you. That's why I recommend get one of these, old-fashioned way, pen and paper, but just write every single day. And when you do that, you are going to make this a habit, and your mind is going to start processing your thoughts a little bit differently, and things start to get really interesting. For example, you might just randomly have a line pop into your head, and there might magically be some melody attached to it. Actually, I remember the other night I tweeted out that I was laying in bed, I was about to fall asleep, and all of a sudden there was this string of words and this melody attached, and I was humming it, and I was singing it a little bit out loud but quietly because everybody else was asleep. And then it's about 2 a.m. I roll over to my nightstand, I grab my phone, and I start singing into my phone. I made a little memo. And that kind of stuff just randomly happens. I don't have to be playing my guitar. I could literally be doing my hair in the morning, or just working out or something, and something will pop into my head. And it's just, now that's how my mind processes some of my thoughts. So when you start kind of getting into that writing mode, and the more experienced you get with songwriting, the more that you do it, the more your mind is just going to process your thoughts that way. And it can be both a blessing and a curse. I consider it more of like a blessing than it is a curse, because your thoughts turn into music, and that's really cool. But sometimes it's, like 2 a.m. and you're trying to get sleep, but a song idea pops into your head. So my second tip is to start with the details, the truth, your raw emotions. Think about the subject that you are writing about, whether, it's a person in your life, if you've gone through something, a breakup, you were cheated on, hopefully you weren't. Maybe it's a happy song, maybe you made a new friend, maybe you've just recently fallen in love. Or maybe it's just about pancakes and how much you love eating pancakes. I love eating pancakes. So think about, how do pancakes make you feel? For me, pancakes make me feel excited. I feel like they make me feel cozy in a way, because I feel like it's like cozy comfort food. And they make me happy, because I feel satisfied. So think of emotions, things that the subject makes you feel. Now, describe that subject. Pancakes are fluffy, they're sweet. They generally, you top them if you're, if you like your toppings on your pancakes. I like bananas and almond butter and syrup and chocolate chips and the whole 9 yards. So think about that. Describe your subject. If it's a person, describe how they look. describe mannerisms about them, things that they do, things that they do that make you happy, things that they do that make you angry. Just jot words down. It doesn't have to be full sentences of things that they do. It can just be words, just little details. And when you have a bunch of details listed, then you can start kind of figuring out your structure. But start with the raw details. And this is not something that I do every time that I write a song now, but it's something that I kind of had to start doing when I first got started with writing, because I didn't know where to start. But if you can figure out what your subject is and then details about your subject, that helps you branch out a little bit, and then you can really start to get creative with things. So start with the details. Now my third tip has to do with coming up with an actual melody. Now songwriting is different for everybody. Sometimes you will have a melody pop up with the lyrics that pop up in your head, or sometimes some people write the melody first and then the lyrics later. For me, it tends to usually be intertwined together, which is amazing. But sometimes I'll change it up and I'll figure out a new melody and just kind of just rework the entire thing. But for coming up with a melody, you know, you don't have to be, you know, an instrumentalist musician, I guess I say that. But with coming up with a melody, you don't typically have to play an instrument to be able to do this. If you're just a singer, if you're just a vocalist, you can, you know, come up with a melody on your own just by using your voice, and you can make a recording of that. And if you know somebody that plays an instrument, you know, they can help you out with that. But if you happen to play an instrument like guitar or possibly piano, keyboard, this is where it can get really interesting and fun, because you have access, you know, to an instrument. You can really play things out, see how they sound. What I always tell people to just do is to really familiarize yourself with your instrument, play around with different chords and notes, and know what your best key is for singing. Like if you're writing a song for yourself to sing, know your vocal range, know what keys generally work for you, and then just find chords within those keys and just try different things out. But what I usually end up doing is, because I tend to have a melody in my head already, is I hum it to myself and then I figure it out on my guitar. And that's generally what happens in my songwriting process. But just play around with your instrument or just your voice and just kind of figure things out. And that's what I recommend. Tip number 4, this one is super important. I can't stress this one enough, but make audio recordings of any idea that you have. Back it up, because it's hard for your mind to do that. You're going to have an idea that is going to come to you at a random time, and you're going to be upset later on if you didn't record it, because you can go back and be like, what was that line? What was that word? What was the melody? And usually the melody is the hardest thing for me to remember. Words I can usually kind of get away with not recording. I'm really good at memorizing words, but melody sometimes I'll just forget a melody. So even if it's, like I said, 2 a.m., you know I'm picking up my phone and I'm making an audio recording, no matter how crappy my voice is going to sound at that time of night. And if I have to whisper sing it into my phone, I'm going to record it, because if I don't, I'm just going to wake up the next day and I'll remember that I had an amazing idea, but I won't remember what it was. So I recommend for, you know, iPhone users, there's that the Memo app, and you can just make a straight audio recording. I recently just got the Google Pixel 2. It does not have an audio recording app, so I think I have to get an external one. But what I have been doing recently is just making little video recordings. So I'll just use the audio from that, or I'll actually just talk to myself in the video, like make like a little mini vlog song idea thing, and I'll just tell myself little notes. And then sometimes I'll have my notebook with me and I'll write ideas down here. It just kind of depends where I am in the moment. But the phone makes it so easy to just make a recording real quick, and then I can just listen to it back later and figure out if it's something that I want to use. And my last tip is to be thoughtful. And what I mean to be thoughtful is really just, you know, be thoughtful about your songwriting. Think about what you're trying to say. Whether it is to a person or about something. I think something that I remember Taylor Swift saying is that she thinks of her songs as writing a letter to somebody, and I thought that was such a cool approach because, you know, if you could say anything to that one person, what would you say to them? Because it's a little easier to be gutsy in your songwriting than it is to someone's face. So think about what you truly want to say to that person, whether, you know, and I don't mean gutsy as in like a negative way, I just mean like anything, because like even happy emotions, love, that can be hard to express in person. So think about what it is that you want to say to that person or about a situation, and don't limit yourself. You know, don't have any limits, just write. And I think that's the best thing you can do, is just let the feelings, let the emotions flow, let your thoughts flow. And so really, to be thoughtful with your songwriting is to really think about what your end goal is. What message are you trying to get across? Does the verse make sense with the chorus, and then does the follow-up with the second verse also follow through with that? Does it make sense? But at the same time, sometimes it doesn't completely have to make sense. I mean, there are songs out there where the artist has said, I just kind of wrote this, I really didn't have a message or a goal in mind. And sometimes some of the most amazing songs just happen that way. But if having a goal, if having some kind of message to spread helps spark inspiration and spark your songwriting, that's definitely a way to do it. Like I said, everyone has a different process going about it. It's just kind of figuring out what your style is and what works best for you, and there really are no rules. So those are just a few of my top basic songwriting tips. I hope you guys find those helpful. But now I'm going to go ahead and just answer some more questions that I've gotten about songwriting. So let's see what we have here. Can you make a video going over your songwriting process? I definitely think that I should make a separate video from this one on this topic, just because I feel like I could go on for quite a bit about this. So if you guys would like to see a full video on my personal songwriting process, feel free to let me know down below in the comments. So these two questions are pretty much the same. Do you plan on releasing any originals? And then this next one also goes, do you plan on recording your original song, Manners Like Dirt, in the studio? I love you so much. I love you so much too. So I do plan on releasing my original music. I definitely would love to just at least start with like an EP. I have a couple of songs I know I'm definitely gonna record, but I've written a lot of stuff in the past already. I'm writing stuff now, and I'm just trying to figure out maybe like a 4 to 5 song EP that I would like to put together and just put it out for you guys. I don't think the recording process will take very long with that because I'm going to have help in that department, but I think just finishing up my songs and figuring out what songs I would like to group together, I think that's going to take the most time. And getting out there on all of the streaming services and things like that won't take very long at all. Actually, I want to talk to you guys about that because I am working with a brand called DistroKid, and they are actually going to help get my music on streaming services like Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, and even in stores, you know, like iTunes. And so basically what they do is they help artists get their songs out there on all of those services. And what's so amazing is that if you're an independent musician, it is an affordable way for you to get your music out there. And so all you have to do is create an account with them. So I have an account. I just need to upload my music into that account, and then within a couple of days they actually get your music out there on these services. And I have a few friends who use this service, and it's amazing because you can upload your artwork. If you collaborated with another artist, you can actually split the royalties, which is really cool. So that way, you know, each person gets their fair share, which is awesome. And the membership is only like $20 a year, which is super cheap. So they don't take any royalties from albums that you upload or singles that you put out. All they do is collect a $20 a year membership fee, and you can upload as much music as you want. That's pretty cool. That's awesome. So I thought that would be really helpful to share with you guys in this video, because most likely if you were watching this video, you probably are interested in writing your own songs and selling your music, or even just selling maybe some cover songs that you did, because they actually help you with selling and streaming cover songs, because they help you with dealing with all the licensing and all of that, the copyright, so that way you can do it legally. And so it makes that process a lot smoother. So if any of you are interested in using DistroKid, I will actually put the link down below in the description box. And if you sign up using my link, you actually receive 7% off your first year's membership, which is pretty awesome. Makes it even that much more affordable. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video on some basic songwriting tips. But yeah, let me know what you guys want to see. If you have any more questions, maybe I will make a songwriter series on my channel. I could take you guys through my personal songwriting process, or just go more in depth on song structure, how to write more creatively. Like I said, I'm not by any means an expert in songwriting, but I do have some experience, and I would love to share that with you. Or another idea that I even had is, if I remember to in the moment, because I make video recordings on my phone of song ideas, I could even just start explaining the process of what is happening in that moment, what I'm going to do next, what my plan is, or if I even have a plan, and just how I go about writing the song, and take you guys through that process organically. So let me know if that's also something that you would like to see, because I think that would actually be a really interesting and cool piece of content for you guys. But that is all I have for you today. I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out. I hope you found this video helpful, and I will see you guys in the next video.